What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out this 2025 Toyota Camry. This is the all new generation for the iconic Camry. This one's finished off in Reservoir Blue. MSRP is $39,200. So what do you think? Is the Camry the ultimate mid-size sedan? Camry has been one of the absolute top selling vehicles in the USA for a very long time. So do you think, with all the steep competition and this whole new car, do you think this is still at the top of its class? So new for 2025, obviously the whole car is new, but there's only one engine option. So your loved V6 is gone. You can only get a Camry as a hybrid. This has a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder with 225 horsepower and 163 pound-feet of torque. This one's front-wheel drive with the eCVT transmission. There is an all-wheel drive model available, which basically uses the electric motors for the rear wheels, and it'll bump up horsepower just a little bit. MPG is also around 48. You're gonna get a nice set of LED headlights and then a cool light-up design right here. You also have more lighting throughout the front bumper. For the XSE trim, I really like this front grille. It's body colored, as you can tell, and to me, it just really makes this thing look sharp. This upper grille also fades into the headlights, which is pretty neat, and then you can see openings down below. There's even a functional trim right here to allow some airflow through the bumper, and overall it's a really sharp looking car. You can see a little bit of the new Prius design in it. However, I think this is definitely a bit more sporty looking. The XSE in general does have a sport tuned suspension. So this is a really neat trim. I actually like the XSE, I think, as my #1 pick for a Camry. You have some sharp lines throughout the hood, fading towards the windshield, and I like how this front splitter has this cool body colored winglet. And then there's a nice set of wheels finished in the dual tone. These are 19-inch diameter. Sharp body line, and then another sharp line throughout the side. Side skirts have a nice sharp line in them too. And then we have body colored door handles and mirror caps with an LED turn signal. All black trim for the windows, and this even has a full panoramic sunroof finished off in the black. Really helped make this look pretty sweet. Side profile is about what you would expect. It looks similar to the old generation Camry, just with the proportions. Of course, can't really change that up too much. So that front end is really the biggest difference as far as styling. But the back end ties it nicely together. Those sharp lines cut into the LED taillights, and we have a nice black trim piece with Camry written out. Got your Toyota badge, a nice small spoiler finished in the black. All the badging for the hybrid as well as XSE logo. And then we have the dual exhaust tips and a body colored rear diffuser. So overall for styling, I like the new Camry. I think they did a cool job just making it look a bit more sporty. We have a little button over here. We can manually pop that open. You're gonna get around 14 cubic feet of cargo volume, and it's a pretty large trunk overall. Got these pull tabs you pop to get those seats down, then you can manually push them down. Definitely pretty practical for cargo. And then as we make our way inside, those seats fold down pretty much flat, and there's a nice opening into the cargo space as well. Not too hard to operate everything. You also have the nice armrests and cup holders. This can seat 3 people, and the XSE will get leather all throughout the interior. You have some hard plastic on the back door panel with some soft touch padding, and then I like the smooth and perforated leather with those cool blue accents throughout it. As I make my way inside, we have some nice amenities like air vents. There are plugs, we have storage, and at 5'11", I still have plenty of room behind my driver's seat. Good headroom as well. The back seats are comfortable for a family sedan. You know, this is definitely going to fit the bill quite nicely. Can't really find any major complaints for the back. As I make my way to the front seat, we have the smart key that you can lock and unlock it from the door. And then once again, we have the same colors. You're gonna get a little bit nicer front doors with soft touch plastics, and then this perforated leather pattern. That trim piece cuts into the door handle. Then we have all of our controls. Power controls up front, and then the same smooth and perforated leather seats for the front passengers. For the steering wheel, you have a nice black leather wrapped steering wheel with a 3-spoke design. And then when you fire it up, being a hybrid, engine doesn't necessarily kick on every single time. You're gonna see some controls on the left side. We also have Bluetooth and audio, cruise control on the right side, and then the gauge cluster has a lot of information. You can scroll left and right and change up everything that you see. And then when we hold down the OK icon, you can actually adjust the center screen. So you can see all this information we can adjust. And then going left and right, you can do the same thing for the different menu areas. So pretty nice screen overall. Got the paddle shifters, stalk on the right for windshield wiper, headlights over on the left with turn signals. And then we have our automatic high beams, trunk and fuel release, some soft touch padding and gloss black trim. The upper dash will have some soft touch material as well, and then the air vent kind of is integrated into these slats, which flows right into the center screen. I think that's a pretty cool look overall. Got a nice glove box, and then some soft touch trim as well. For the screen, you have all the basic things every Toyota is going to have, so nothing really that you're not going to expect. You can go into some of the climate controls. You have more features, trip information, and definitely does get pretty good gas mileage. A couple different settings you can view, and then in reverse, got a nice backup camera with 2 different views. Climate controls are all integrated right here with these nice toggles and an integrated screen, heated seats and steering wheel, and then we have plugs, wireless charging down below, and a ton of hidden storage. All your drive modes are right here. You can just toggle them. Comes up with a nice depiction, and then we even have an EV drive mode. If you toggle this, you can see it pop up on that left side. So for slow speed, once the battery is charged well, you can drive in pure electric mode. You have some nice padding throughout this armrest, and then a lot of space all down below that. Nice look at the seats and door panels once again. Pretty good use of materials, and then a massive panoramic roof. Those controls are up there, and then you of course have garage door buttons on the mirror. All right, so setting off now in the Camry. I've already pressed the EV mode, and we are in the pure electric mode, which is ideal for slow speeds in parking lot. So we're gonna be staying in electric mode for a little bit, and then it will beep at me in a little bit once we exceed its limits. So right there, now the engine has kicked on and we're out of the EV mode. So it's nice, this being just a standard hybrid, not a plug-in hybrid, to where you can use that EV system in those slow speeds, maybe just pulling your car out of your driveway or something real quick. You don't have to worry about starting up the engine. So with the eCVT, it also gives you a really good power delivery when you're just getting up and going. This Camry is pretty nice to drive overall. I will say, being the XSE, it's got the sport tuned suspension. The seats are also a little bit on the stiffer side compared to maybe some other trim levels. However, overall, it's a pretty comfortable vehicle. You know, we're not going too fast just yet, but as we pick up some speed, you know, it's still a comfortable, smooth driving vehicle. So definitely nice and roomy to be in here. It feels like a good size. It doesn't feel cramped even in the slightest. And it overall drives pretty nice and smooth. I think the transmission, for being technically a CVT at the end of the day with no gears, you know, doesn't just whine like your typical one. I feel like the hybrid system has been really integrated nicely just to make this a pleasant car to drive, and it does feel a little sporty. It has a little bit of a sporty touch to it. The steering feel is nice as well, not too heavy or not too light. Turning radius is pretty decent, and the backup camera is pretty HD as well. If we go into sport mode now, you can take manual control, shift either here or with the paddles. Being a CVT, technically, again, there's no gears. However, it just allows you to hold RPM a little bit different. And barely touching the gas, I mean, we're up to speed without really thinking. So it seems like a really well-balanced powertrain. Being a larger 4-cylinder, some vehicles might have a smaller 4-cylinder engine. It gives you more of that grunt from the actual engine along with the EV system, to where I feel like it just drives nice and good for the power delivery. Nothing worse than having a sluggish car. This is not that at all. It is peppy, gets up to speed, and gets a really good gas mileage to just be a fantastic daily driver overall. Maybe the only complaints from a driver's perspective, the seats to me honestly feel a little stiff. I think the back doesn't really have much padding to it, so maybe that's my only complaint. I wouldn't mind more cushy seats. But overall, I think the car drives pretty smooth. It feels responsive. You know, it has a little bit of a sporty touch when you're looking at a daily driver economy car that's, you know, nicer than your basic car. So a lot going for the new Camry. It looks sharp inside and out too, and just, you know, not too crazy expensive either. Sub 40 grand, you can get a nice one, and even low 30s, you can get a nice one as well. So from the driving perspective, can't really find many complaints. Pretty solid choice.